All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Think back, or maybe you're there right now, to how absolutely nerve-wracking it is to sit across from your first real client. Whether you're heading into counseling, psychology, nursing, social work, or education, the truth is your success relies heavily on how you physically show up in that room. So today, we're going to master a foundational framework that helps you do exactly that. We all know communication is the whole shebang in any therapeutic setting, right? But what actually speaks louder than the words you're saying out loud? Well, let's look at the unseen weight of nonverbal cues. Research actually tells us that when a client is sitting across from you, they're taking in a heck of a lot more than just your vocabulary. Subconsciously, they're scanning you. They're looking for safety, checking for judgment, and gauging your competence way before you even open your mouth. Basically, they are reading your physical presence. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the power of unspoken words, then meet the SOLER model itself. After that, we're exploring S, O, and L, followed by E and R, and we'll wrap up with evaluation and limitations. All right, starting off with section 1, the power of unspoken words. There is this massive divide in human interaction. On one side, you've got verbal communication, the actual words coming out of your mouth. On the flip side, we have nonverbal cues, your facial expressions, your posture, eye contact, physical distance, even your tone of voice. A huge chunk of emotional communication happens entirely through these unspoken cues. I mean, imagine telling a client, hey, take your time, I'm here for you, while you're repeatedly checking the clock or tapping your foot. Trust me, they're going to believe your foot every single time. Mastering this unspoken side of the equation is just absolutely vital for successful counseling. Moving right along to section 2, meet the SOLER model. So the SOLER model was developed by Gerard Egan, and it gives us these really concrete guidelines to help consciously use our body language. You see, Egan created this because practitioners are often getting so caught up in figuring out what to say next that they completely forgot how to just be in the room. It's really not just about looking polite. These physical actions literally help regulate your client's nervous system. As a student entering a helping profession, this model is your blueprint for creating a safe, supportive environment where clients feel genuinely understood and completely free to express themselves. Okay, so what does SOLER actually stand for? It's sit squarely, open posture, lean forward, eye contact, and relax. You're definitely going to want to memorize this acronym. Each letter represents a crucial, distinct piece of nonverbal behavior that builds up the counselor-client relationship. Let's break them down one by one so you know exactly how to pull them off in actual practice. Which brings us to section 3, exploring S, O, and L. First up is the S, which stands for sit squarely. Think of this as your baseline. It means sitting facing your client directly or at a comfortable angle to show that you're involved. Now, a quick caveat here. Sitting totally squarely face-to-face can sometimes feel a bit, well, like an interrogation. That's why a comfortable angle, say a 5 o'clock position where your knees aren't bumping but your torso is still directed right at them, often works best. It signals you're fully present without being overbearing. So why does this matter so much? Well, sitting squarely actively builds rapport and makes the client feel deeply valued. Psychologically, it sends a message, I'm not looking for the nearest exit. I am planted right here with you. It encourages open communication from the absolute get-go by giving them your undivided 100% attention. Next is the O, for open posture. This one requires you to consciously keep your body relaxed and receptive to convey warmth. In real practical terms, that means keeping your hands resting gently in your lap or on the arms of your chair. It means consciously pulling your shoulders down instead of hunching them up by your ears, and definitely making sure your arms and legs stay uncrossed. If you just take a second to notice the stark psychological contrast between these two postures, it's wild. An open posture physically radiates acceptance, warmth, and a genuine willingness to listen. On the flip side, crossing your arms is actually this instinctual biological mechanism we use to guard our vital organs. And clients, they subconsciously read that defensive posture as you literally putting up a physical barrier between the two of you. It screams disinterest or judgment. Just maintaining an open posture can dramatically reduce a client's anxiety. All right, moving to the L, we have lean forward. When a client is talking, leaning slightly and naturally toward them demonstrates that you are actively involved in their narrative. But keep in mind, this isn't some permanent, static lean where you're frozen in place. It's dynamic. Think of it as leaning in when the client hits a particularly emotional or crucial part of their story. It's a physical way of saying, I'm with you, keep going. Leaning forward shows active listening, and it really helps clients feel heard and understood. But as a practitioner, you've got to calibrate this carefully. If you lean in way too much, you're invading their personal space. But if you lean too far back, you look bored. Here's a pro tip. Read the client's reaction. If you lean in and they instantly lean back, you've just crossed their invisible boundary line. Finding that natural, moderate lean is the absolute sweet spot. Let's keep rolling right into section 4, exploring E and R. The E stands for eye contact. Maintaining natural, non-excessive eye contact communicates sincerity and respect. Now, let's be clear. Natural eye contact is absolutely not an intense, unblinking stare-down. That's just creepy. It means looking at the person, occasionally breaking contact to process what they're saying or to nod, and naturally returning to their gaze. Used correctly, it strengthens the therapeutic relationship and builds an incredible amount of trust. But you have to remember that eye contact is highly dynamic. You have to constantly adjust it. You've got to account for their cultural background, their age, personality, and especially their current emotional state. Think about a client who's weeping or someone sharing a moment of deep personal shame. In those heavy moments, forcing direct eye contact can feel like shining a harsh spotlight on them. Just looking slightly down or softly at their hands allows them to keep their dignity while still knowing you are right there with them. Finally, the R stands for relax. This means remaining physically and emotionally calm and stable throughout the whole session. Now, you might be asking, how on earth do you relax when you're a student terrified during your first practicum? You have to ground yourself. Actually, do a quick check on your own tension right now. Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders creeping up toward your ears? You need to consciously take a breath, settle back into your chair, and project that professional confidence. Why is this so absolutely vital? Because emotions are incredibly contagious in a therapy room. You, the practitioner, are the thermostat of that room. If you show up tense or anxious, you're going to crank the client's anxiety right up, and they're going to shut down. But if you are relaxed, you bring the client's temperature down. Your physical relaxation is literally a prerequisite for their emotional openness. It creates a calm atmosphere that makes real healing possible. All right, wrapping things up with Section 5, Evaluation and Limitations. While the advantages of SOLER are pretty clear, it's super easy to grasp, it heavily promotes empathy, and it enhances active listening across basically all helping professions. Treating it like some rigid, unbreakable checklist is the biggest mistake a student can make. Interpretation of body language varies wildly by culture. For example, while Western cultures often view direct eye contact as a sign of respect, in several other cultures, avoiding direct eye contact is actually the traditional sign of deep respect. Applying a closed, squared-up orientation universally, that might cause intense discomfort for some folks. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought as you continue your studies. Think about your own default posture right now. How might your natural default body language be interpreted by a client from a completely different cultural background? True mastery of the SOLER model isn't just about memorizing an acronym for a test. It's about challenging yourself to constantly adapt your physical presence. It's about being flexible and sensitive to the unique individual needs of every single client you serve. Keep practicing, stay observant, and we'll see you in the next explainer.